New York City was one of the global hotspots during the pandemic. Nearly 1 million people were affected, while over 28,000 died in the Big Apple due to COVID. However, the worst impact of the pandemic was felt by New York's poorest. Reports reveal that the number of homeless people in New York reached record levels during the pandemic. Here's a report.
Although the worst health crisis in a century seems to be abetting in New York City, the homeless crisis that predated COVID-19 continues to rage on. When the city shut down last year, the visibility of homeless people, mentally ill, and substance abusers spiked significantly in the streets. Many lost their jobs and weren't able to afford rent. Shelters became overcrowded, and rehab centers were overwhelmed or temporarily closed down.
We need to do a lot more in New York City. I mean, it's very clear both through the number of homeless adults in shelters and those on the streets. Homelessness is on the rise, particularly among single adults. We need resources targeted to folks who are in those circumstances.
As New York opens up, some workers feel reluctant to return to work in the city because of what they see.
I feel like I wish I wasn't ignoring people or stepping over people on my way to the office. That's like a pretty awful thing to have to do.
According to a recent report by the Coalition of the Homeless, in February 2021, the number of single adults sleeping each night in city-run shelters reached a new all-time high of 20,822.
The homeless crisis has resulted in the increase in street vendors in residential neighborhoods like this one across New York City, and often aggressive panhandlers, public intoxication, verbal abuse, and violence.
New York City has recently stepped up security measures to help the city back on its feet. However, the road ahead will be long and difficult.
One of the biggest areas, Penn Station. This is a gateway to the city. People need to feel comfortable when they come into Penn Station. There's been a lot of quality of life issues there. In the past, the NYPD was putting 2 to 4 cops a day there. Now they're dedicating 48 cops a day into the Penn Station area.
According to New York state law, a person cannot be forced to accept help, and unsheltered homeless New Yorkers can't be involuntarily removed from the streets unless they are posing a danger to themselves or others. Officials say they understand homeless individuals' distrust with government and strive to build relationships to grasp their specific needs. Susan Tehrani from New York for WION. World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.